Little Bear. Little Bear is still doing business in Chicago, in the community that he loves so much, which is not the South Side. Bill, why you meddling? I moved to the South Side to get away from you West Siders. You follow me over here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get closer to you, man. I enjoy.
That's okay. I enjoy having you closer to me, because I so miss Buddy Bear, one of my better friends in the world, who prematurely left this plane of existence, I should say. He hasn't gone anyplace. He just left this plane of existence. And he's someplace laughing right now. You guys will catch up with me one day, and you'll see why you wonder why you didn't come earlier.
Yeah, he touched so many. Yeah, he touched so many lives. It's amazing.
And that's why the relationships are still there. As you said, not only the people who had an opportunity to go out to Lake Geneva for the first time in their lives and interact in big mansions, but the other people in the community, not just the individuals who needed to be fed from time to time and who needed jobs from time to time. He built relationships with the pastors. He built relationships with the common man and with the politician and with the biggest people in the community. Buddy was the individual who can shoot craps with you in the gutter today, put his suit on and go to the White House tomorrow and interact with the president.
Yeah, he had that knack about him where, he would have a get-together with, a lot of the West Siders and somehow bring in his neighbors or his bankers or accountants or politicians in on the party and just put people together.
The one thing I saw, Buddy wanted everybody to be like him. He wanted everybody to love everybody, and he attempted to do that in his short life. He had a very short life, but during that short life, he was a giant in the community, a pillar of the community, and he wanted desperately for everybody to be just like him.
Well, he was
colorless. He had no color in his consciousness. Period. He just considered himself a black man.
Yeah.
He considered himself a black man. Why? Because I live in the black community. And he said that's what life should be.
Do you remember that story, that Reader article, the ghetto grocer?
Yeah.
They they called him a white man living a black man's life. That was an interesting story.
Right.
But
he loved it.
Yeah. He's a great businessman, but it wasn't just about business for him. It was about the relations.
Right. Helping people.
And just
that's what made him
being
successful.
fair and, having everything work for everybody. And it works so well, and it's what I try to follow,
Yeah, and therein lies the reason. Remember last week on one of the shows we talked about Americans,
yes,
Italians in Italy, English people in England, French people in France, African people in Africa. Okay, but when they all come to America, especially if they were born in America, they are Americans. We can let all those other ties go, because you can't say I'm an Italian and you were born in America. Like we say, I'm African. You were born in America. See, Africa is a continent. Italy is a country. So that may be your parental ethnicity, nationality. That may be your parental nationality, but it has nothing to do with you per se. Your ancestry is Italian. My ancestry is African, but we are Americans.
Well, that's largely because of the spin society has put on that. Because you have Latin American, you have Afro American, you're Greek American, Asian American. I mean, there's so many different types of American as opposed to just saying
they
American.
Would you believe that all came from African American? That's where it all comes from. But the idea is, when we really truly understand what nationality is origin of birth. If you were born in America, you're an American, period. Even if a Chinese family was flying over America and the wife went into labor and they decided to land the plane in New York and she had that baby in New York, that baby is an American. Whatever hospital the baby was born in will give that baby a birth certificate for America.
But it still goes back to the spin society puts on it each and every time.
They've always put spins that are against society. See, society works against society whether we know it or not. See, because society is not spinned by the people, it's spinned by the spin doctors. And the spin doctors spin things for ulterior motives.
That's right. We got to unite, be together.
And we got to come back to the people making that spin. Okay, that's why we, the people of Straight Talk, say let's get rid of these hyphenations. And if we all can understand we're just Americans, we don't have to put labels of black, white, yellow, brown. We don't need all that. Just Americans. Out of many nations, one people here in America. And if we can somehow get to that, a little country called Jamaica has done that. To a large degree, they have done that. You were there.
Yes.
You saw many colors, many different ethnic backgrounds, but they all say, I'm Jamaican. And didn't say, I'm Chinese Jamaican. I'm Arab Jamaican. You didn't hear any of that. I'm African Jamaican. See? We're Jamaicans. We're all just Jamaicans. Butch, the guy who owned, at one time owned Air Jamaica, and he also he's still the owner of the Sandals Resorts. He said he's white by all intent and purposes, as anybody would know him anywhere in the world. But you talk to him, I'm Jamaican, man. I'm not white. I'm Jamaican. There's no such thing. He said, Jamaica is just one people. We got all different shades and all different hues, but we're one people.
Well, see, that's someone that understands what nationality truly means. That's someone that understands what ethnicity and lineage means and what it is. But for those that don't have a full understanding of what those things are, this is a result of it. Asian American, Afro American, Latin American, and all these other Americans, as opposed to just saying American. But you have to understand also there's a market for all of that, for all of those things anyway. And there's somebody benefiting from those things being set up that way.
So it didn't happen.
It didn't happen by chance. It was there by choice. And the people perpetuate it because the system is set up accordingly. And the way the system is set up, you have to be identified. If you're going to be counted, you have to be identified by one of those categories.
You're right. But here in America, they're getting kind of slick because they see that person of the darker hue have caught up and possibly passed everyone else in America. So they allow them now to say other. So you got more others than the so-called black Americans. You got more others there. So how do you count? How do you get the fair count of how many dark Americans there are?
Well, you don't. The question should be, where does the other go?
It goes to the other column.
In that column?
That column consists of people who want to consider themselves other rather than the darker hue.
Well, that's what I'm saying. All of those that checked off the other column, where are they putting them, whereas that other can be counted? How are they identifying with the other? What are they doing with the other?
You mean what benefits do the other get? None.